feel like hope is on the way. Feel good. Feel dead.
Social services is the heartbeat of the nation. The minister responsible for social services, information and broadcasting, the Honorable Myles LaRoda, says he is determined to strengthen the socio-economic pulse of our family islands. His portfolio is vast, 18 departments to serve the Bahamian people. In order to deliver more opportunities, he demands greater efficiency and more resources, in addition to diversifying and strengthening the culture of the social services team. He, along with his team from social services, are traveling to the Family Island communities to meet the residents and assess their needs. Their most recent tour took them to Acklins, Crooked Island, and Long Key. This group of southern islands with once prosperous communities have small populations who, for the most part, feel neglected. It is with this in mind that Minister LaRoda and his team have committed to give their best efforts to restore hope and identify and create opportunities for the people of the Family Islands.
These communities, those far-flung communities in the southern Bahamas, they feel disconnected. You see personalities on television, whether it be myself as the minister or you were recognized in Long Key, in Acklins and in Crooked Island. And these communities want to feel touched. Somebody mentioned that nobody asks for anything for their benefit. It was good to see the government there working. It's good to see that people were coming to them. You know, some of them were almost moved by tears that the Department of Social Services and the workers were so personal towards them.
This is not the first trip undertaken by the team that accompanied the minister on the Taking Social Services, Information and Broadcasting to the People tour. As we prepared to board the Bahamas Air flight to Acklins, the Deputy Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Mr. Townsky Roberts, anticipated some of what may be ahead by reflecting on the challenges the differently abled face in Andros.
Yes, we met a gentleman. We had a town hall in Central Andros and Lovely Bay. There's a senior school there. And the gentleman has a neighbor that takes him to the clinic in Fresh Creek every month. There's no accessible transportation in Andros. So he literally has to push him in his wheelchair from Lovely Bay, Andros, to Fresh Creek, Andros. And that shouldn't happen. So it shows you how important it is to have accessible transportation. And then another part that we don't think about. So he's on this road. This is a highway now. There's no sidewalks on this highway. So the risk of actually on this road pushing someone in a wheelchair is risky. So it also goes to show people why there's a necessity for sidewalks. Remember, people made noise and complained why we put all these sidewalks around during pandemic. Sidewalks have a purpose. There's a reason why they're there. We have a number of places here in New Providence who are blind, who traverses the streets of Nassau by themselves. Those sidewalks help to keep them safe. And yet we have people who wish to park a car impeding our path. You know, Ms. Adley used to always say, my disability doesn't make me disabled. It's the built environment and obstacles you put before me that makes me disabled. And that's what people need to realize. If you help to remove the obstacles in the built environment, the obstacles to education, to employment, to health, to whatever it is, then you level the playing field for all of us, and we can be more independent.
Kind of cars in the
Are you
parking
serious,
lot, but
man?
you ain't even know where to park. Don't park on the gas.
Yeah, there's handicap.
No, man, you can't park on the gas.
We ain't gonna be that long.
Boy, what's going on now? Go get one of these today.
My bad, big bro. Give me right now. Sorry.
Be considerate. Don't use disabled parking spaces without a decal in your vehicle. This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
There's an air of enthusiastic anticipation among the team to meet the residents of Acklins, Crooked Island, and Long Key. First stop, Acklins. The long, winding road to our accommodations was a smooth and memorable drive.
We're with the Department of Gender and Family Affairs, where we serve in the capacity of Men's Desk Coordinator. And with us, we have our Deputy Permanent Secretary in the person of Deputy Permanent Secretary Melville Simonette. Now, she's from the land. You know, Simonettes are from Acklins. So she is also like me, but the difference is she at least been here one time or two, but I've never been here. So she probably will be all excited about it. And coincidentally, now I could use this word coincidentally, she just shared with me today would have been her father's birthday, and she's in the land of her father. So make sure I ask her questions on that.
The years have really, you've seen the evolvement of the country, of the island, and the number of persons that have flocked back home. It's amazing. So the economy has really, really picked up booming, and that's a good thing. A lot of persons call Acklins behind God's back because of the distance, but it's a lovely place, and I just see so much potential. So it's worth coming back home, investing, building, and seeing what contributions you can make, because we all have a contribution to make, to these islands. So it's a pleasure to be to the island of my father's birth. So we are here to launch a council. So it's a pleasure to reach out and partner with the residents, the local residents, leaders, community leaders who know the island, know its people, know the context, and are able to come up with suggestions and recommendations on how to address the issues. It may not be a one-size-fit-all, the programs and projects would take some innovation from the persons within the islands to know how to reach their persons, what are the best methods or methodologies to use. And so it's good to be in contact, network, and see how we can work together to address a major issue in the country, violence.
Listen, I haven't been here in Acklins since the 1980s, and it is good to see the development, and just as the DPS just said, it is a land of opportunity. Opportunity just landed here in Acklins, and it means so much because we had some listen, nothing like having that grits and peas, what you call it? Peas and grits, eh? Delicious cuisine, but I'm thinking about, look at the opportunity, look at the enthusiasm. But what is also very important is the minister's vision to go to every family island, and he is bringing a diverse group of the Ministry of Social Services departments. And guess who this is we have in the back here? This is Donaldo Henfield. Donaldo is hearing impaired. He works like a champ. I mean, when you have somebody who has not only the vision, the skill sets, he is diligent. Say hello. What does this mean to you coming apart? This is not your first family island trip. What do these family island trips mean? See how good he is reading my lips? What does it mean to the hearing impaired, to the differently abled community?
You have to show what's up and valley we service about. We would like to them to register our behalf of National Mission for Police to protect all the system if anything happens to them, like car preparedness or a Shanna emergency or whatever. We all provide it. And also we requested the share as well. We are water, hay, separate municipality on the way, and also the person is just able person who's driving, and they are requests for municipalities to drive CR and passengers CR. We would like to have your doctor and letter along with your ID. And that's it.
Very good. Well, see what I'm saying? I want you to stand by because we're going to have a town hall meeting tonight and we're going to hear from the people. Because what the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting is after, to know the pain, the concerns that the people have so that we can be more efficient in dealing with their needs. Let's see what's going to happen tonight. I think it's going to be very productive. Before the town hall meeting, the delegation checked into a beautiful Bahamian-owned beachfront small resort, Ivel's Bed and Breakfast in Masons Bay. Minister, there's something that is a constant theme with you, and that is you're focusing on the Family Islands to make the people of the Family Islands know and understand that Family Islands is included in this equal priority as people in Nassau. Speak to that.
Absolutely, Debbie. You know, everywhere we go, we're hearing the same thing in the Family Islands, that governments, past and present, have always been Nassau-centric. And so these far-flung southern islands, of which I grew up in one of them, it's about time that they get to see the government in terms of ministries, technocrats, who come to them and let them know what the government is offering and what they are entitled to. You know, people in New Providence and Grand Bahama, they take some of these things for granted. But these people especially in the southern Bahamas, you know, this is new to them. This is novel to them. And I'm sure as we go to the various town halls, we will see the appreciation, as we saw in Long Island, as we saw in Andros, as we saw in Eleuthera. And so I'm pleased to be here with social services to bring to these communities the government and let them see firsthand how the government works. The various agencies, social services are massive agencies, over 18 different departments. And so what we want to do is to have a one-stop shop. If people have issues as it relate to illnesses, social health services, if there's food assistance or whatever service we may provide, we're going to be bringing the offices of social services here to them to answer their questions. We came bearing gifts for some of the needy in the community. That'll be a surprise for them. And I'm really excited about this trip.
Well, when we're talking about day one, I couldn't help but think, Minister, that when we landed, it was like opportunity landed.
Absolutely.
I mean, whether that meant the baggage, whether it meant when we went into the restaurant, I mean, the place was full. Speak to the opportunity.
Yes, what is happening, this is basically a traveling economy, because we're talking about rental cars, we're talking about heads and beds, and these are people in the communities. The vouchers, that food assistance that we provide will be to benefit the business owners here. And so this is an injection into the economy, while also informing the residents here, the elderly, the infirmed, those who are struggling, that we are here for them and we're here to spend time with them. So this ain't touchdown in the morning and then leave in the afternoon. We're actually on each different island, giving them each its own individual attention.
Wonderful. Well, I look forward to the night of the town meeting. You want to stay tuned. The town meeting is coming up, and yes. I expect that's going to be full of energy.
Absolutely. I spoke to a few people at the airport, plus when we were having lunch, and they're looking forward to this evening. Right. But just look at the beauty of the Bahamas.
Look at that. Isn't it really, really, really paradise?
Absolutely.
That timeless harmony.
We live in paradise.
Okay. Minister, see you at the town meeting.
Thank you.
After checking in, we met and spoke with the owner, Ms. Velma Gibson. talking about meeting us and having fellowship. What does this mean to you that the minister, this big old delegation of must be 24 people coming, landing opportunity in Acklins?
Listen, I am so excited. Can you see? I'm smiling from ear to ear. I am really, really excited to know that I'm able to accommodate you all. So it's really an excitement for me.
Thank you very much. I know you're busy. This is a busy season for you. Thanks to the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting.
Thank you all so much.
Yes.
Thank you,
Not
Ms.
only for
Grace.
coming
Great
to
place.
Acklins, but for choosing Ivels.
Absolutely.
Because Ivels is a home away from home, and I want y'all to remember that.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
The Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting is partnering with the Bahamas Christian Council to help build stronger Bahamian families.
I believe that our ultimate experience in living begins with God and family.
Our purpose is to facilitate, guide, inspire, and equip you to have a better life.
And a strong family foundation begins with each of us trying to become better individuals.
Let's unite for a stronger Bahamas.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, the heartbeat of the nation, leading Bahamians from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment.
We talked to you in the first segment about opportunity landing in Acklins. And we're here now to the town hall meeting. The permanent secretary is someone who has the institutional knowledge. She's been here from, she was a little bitty. She still looks like a little bitty. But, it's always good to get perspective on what is the purpose, the mission. What do you hope to achieve tonight from the people of Acklins?
Well, tonight we really are here to promote public awareness, Debbie. Very often you find that the Southern Islands are forgotten, and we are here to prove that you are not forgotten. We are here to tell you what's available in this portfolio. Tonight, they will actually have the opportunity to also express concerns regarding representation on the island. For my portfolio, that's the Department of Social Services. We have with us this evening the National Commission of Persons with Disabilities represented, as well as the Department of Gender and Family Affairs. They will all be sharing what they have to offer. We know that there are persons who are among the community who are disabled, and then we also know that the Department of Gender and Family Affairs is going to launch its Family Island Council in both Acklins and Crooked Island. So this evening you will see persons who have been duly appointed by the minister will be receiving their letters as liaisons in the community, where they have the ability to lobby, to reach out to us, to be the point of contact for change in their communities, because we are looking at just that: gender, family affairs. How do we build stronger families? How do we help you with the needs of your community? Because at the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, we know that stronger families build stronger communities, and by extension, we're aiming to build an even stronger nation. So this evening, in a nutshell, that's what we're about. We are also going to be giving out some gifts to the persons who are in attendance. They're going to be able to cash them out in at the local vendors. There are some persons prior to us coming who expressed the need for wheelchairs. We'll be dealing with that tomorrow. We also have a blind young person in the community. We will be presenting the iPad to them free of charge. They have the program available. I think it's JAWS, it's called, available, already loaded, up and running, and available for that child to be able to operate with that instrument.
You talked about the concerns. I'm sure it seems like social services is one of the most misunderstood, and most people are just not really aware of the full purpose function, the opportunities, the services that you provide. What do you anticipate as headliners for concern?
Well, when we went to other communities, and that would have been Abaco, was the last community we did. We went from north, south, and central. We found concerns of persons expressing for their children who had learning disabilities. We also had concerns regarding persons who needed assistance, whether they were looking for some type of subvention, a stipend of sorts. And we had on hand at that time the Department of Social Services representative from the Disability Affairs Unit. So they were actually able to express exactly how persons would be able to access some support. Now, there were some conditions, of course, to accessing it. Persons, first of all, were not aware. And then secondly, some had applied and were supposed to bring perhaps a quote from a doctor for some apparatus that the child needed or some testing that had to be done, and they had not followed through. And we were saying to them, it is important that if we ask you for information, that you bring it back in. Don't think that because you started the application and you didn't provide it, that it will be processed. It will not be processed. You have to complete the process for us to be able to put in motion the assistance. So this evening, I would say, Debbie, that every community is different. What was the concern for Abaco may not be the concern for a community like Acklins. But we're here. We're open to hearing what they have to say, and we certainly will attempt to make a difference.
This is a very small community. I believe I heard a figure about 500 people live here. Are you aware of how much?
I'm not so certain of how many. I didn't know it was as many as 500. But in the 500, we know of some of the persons we've been told who have challenges already. We also know that some persons regard disabilities as a shame, a stigma, and so they tuck those persons away in the community. We want to say to them, bring them out. Bring them out even when you have the town hall meetings. We have seen persons who said, well, I didn't want to because the child would be disruptive. Listen, we appreciate that. We are all human beings. And so we want you to bring them out. Let them be a part of the process and enjoy it, because we know that the Executive Secretary and our team, Ms. Desiree Clark, the wonderful team from the National Commission of Persons with Disabilities, they are going to make it very entertaining. We've bussed persons in from the various sections. We've removed the barriers to your participation. So tonight, if you come out, we have something for everyone. You won't leave empty. We want to pour into you. We want to pour into your community. And I want to speak just briefly to the fact that our minister, the Honorable Myles LaRoda, when we first started out, they were town hall meetings specifically regarding disability. But he said, listen, I want my portfolio to be reflected wherever we're going to do town hall meetings. Let us utilize a holistic approach, and that is what we've been doing. So when you see the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, some people say you all descended upon us. You know, when we come into your neighborhood or on your island, you will see our team across the board. In future, you will probably see our Community Affairs Division, because Ms. Lisa Boleg from the division, she's been working hard in New Providence. She said, P.S., why did I get left out? I said, but you don't have any department activity represented on the island. And so she said, but that's the point. I want to tell them how to get active and to give them the ideas to create some stuff. So we did not view it like that, but I assured her that in the future she would certainly be a part of these expeditions.
We're going to get ready to begin the town meeting soon, but it's something that's very key that you talked about Lisa Boleg. But you know something? I noticed if we're going to show some of the enthusiasm of the department leaders and staff here, and that doesn't seem to always be understood by the public, the level of dedication, the initiatives that come from the staff. Talk to that just for a second, because it's really inspiring It's like they want to be here.
Yes, actually, NCPD's team, they are excited. They love the visits to the island. They love to reach out. When they get back, they say to me, P.S., look at the long list, or look at just this person has asked for this. I want to tell you that we've placed it on the mail boat, the wheelchair, the walk-up, because these are all things, the canes, that we provide free of charge. Free of charge. You ask us for it, and we will ensure that we get it to you. We have other members of the team, even if it is not on the island and they don't travel, and we do things in New Providence. They are working behind the scenes, after hours, and they're always willing to do so. I must say that our team has been very helpful. They've been very cooperative, and I'd love to use this opportunity to please tell them how very much they are appreciated, both by myself and the Honorable Minister, because they go, as they say, the 90, the 9, and plus more, to really ensure that the portfolio is represented at a very high level. Very recently, on the weekend, we had an activity, and as I traversed the corridors at Bahamas Harvest for the National Women's Symposium, I saw NCPD represented. I saw the Department of Gender Affairs, who partnered with the National Women's Advisory Council. They were represented. So, and then I looked in the audience, and I saw staff. So I said, you came out today? And they said, yes, we had to be here to support, and it is excellent. So they were commending their peers for the effort that they had undertaken. So they are being very supportive. I know that staff have concerns, and it won't always be a perfect working environment, but certainly once we hear the concerns, we do whatever is in our powers to address them.
Social services is the heartbeat of the nation, and as the PS and Minister always says, we're moving from dependency, self-sufficiency to economic empowerment. So this is an environment now where the people of Acklins are being empowered. If we look around, in a few minutes, this will be filled. This is a small community, but we're gonna wait for them and take a little tour and video tour and let you see how they are preparing for the residents here in Acklins. And then when we come back, the PS is the co-host today. She's gonna tell us whether or not the expectations were met and what the differences are in the culture, because she said every island there's a different culture. So we want you to just stay tuned, because this is exciting to see in our family of islands. They are feeling like family.
Social service has come to these shores to impart knowledge to you. Very vital information that is going to equip us, and I would boldly say, catapult us to the next level. I'll ask you to sit back, absorb all that you can from this fine panelists here this afternoon, and also the burning questions and concerns. Also bring them forward at this time. So indeed, welcome, welcome, welcome.
To this end, Section 21 of the Persons with Disability Act requires that all buildings that are open to the public are accessible to persons with disability. This includes shops, churches, schools, medical facilities, banks, insurance companies, government buildings, sporting, recreational complexes, supermarkets, etc.
So they take food stamp and they take people children. Yeah. All right, and that's what they think of. Yet, whenever things going on, look at me, the way social services was, so it seemed like we there for everything. But Department of Social Services and Department of Rehabilitative Welfare Services, we have a whole lot of divisions and units that we deal with. And in our family islands, Ms. Smith, we may only have one office, or maybe some islands have 2 offices. That 1 or 2 offices, officers who are here in those offices, they have to deal with everything that we deal with in New Providence, even though we have several units with a number of people in them. Okay? But we deal with people throughout the Bahamas, from the cradle to the grave. From the cradle to the grave. We're dealing with children, all facets of their life. We're dealing with the families. We're dealing with older persons. And when you die, unfortunately, when you die, you all have to die. We also deal with burial.
Every male in this place is a priest. You cannot use the same hands to love your wife that you're going to hit your wife with. She should never flinch when you raise your hand. If you reach out to hug her, why would she jump? We have to stand against abuse. If you know that you're being abused, find someone, confide in them. You are a victim, not a volunteer. You are a victim. Speak up against violence. I don't care if they're on the top of the mountain. If it's a pastor who is abusing you, a physical pastor, male pastor, female pastor, expose him. I don't care who they are. I'm saying in order for us to stop violence at the ground level, we have to stop violence at every level. Please, counsel, we expect you to identify the individual, work with them, encourage them that they could live without being abused. They could live without being the abuser.
Give you a bit of context. In 2013, the government launched, well, we know that violence is a prevalent issue, and the government launched a task force. It was headed then by the retired Justice Ruby Notted. Some of you may know that name. And it was co-chaired by Dr. Robin Roberts and Dr. Sandra Dane Patterson. Familiar names? Okay, so they led a task force that came up with a number of recommendations to address gender-based violence in our country. One of those recommendations was to establish family island coordination councils in each of the islands, because persons who live on the islands know the island, they know the people in the island, they know what goes on in the island, and nobody should be able to write a program for persons who live in the island rather than the persons who live there themselves. So we have come here to work with you, to call on you to do what you can to devise programs, policies if you need, if we need to amend policies, projects, whatever is needed to address the issue of gender-based violence.
Minister LaRoda and Permanent Secretary Federal Ramming Turnquest presented certificates to the newly appointed councillors.
When I became, one of the things that caused me to get into public life was, you all know in these areas, every island we go to, we hear the same thing. Whether it's in Grand Bahama, whether it's in Abaco, whether it's in Long Island, and it is that everything is Nassau-centric. And you would think that Long Island would be an island that was treated differently because they've had so many cabinet ministers from Long Island. But you go in there and you hear the same thing. They come in the morning and they leave in the evening. And they say PLP or FNM, they accuse both of doing the same thing. And so I told my team when we went into August, I said, now you all know I'm a Crooked Island boy. We will do the 3 islands. Because you know, before it was Michael, it was called the ACL. Anybody remember the ACL? There you go. And so I wanted to come here, go to Crooked Island, but I also told the team, they said, well, only so much people live in Acklins. I say, that is not in Long Key. I say, that's the problem. We will go to them no matter how many people is there. Because the founding fathers of this country had a position, and that is those who live even in the most desolate parts of the country should have access to the same things that Nassovians do. Okay? And if you look at those people who have excelled in this country, my father left Crooked Island at 15, him and Harold Farquharson. My father went into nursing, Harold went on the police force, and you look at Tony Ferguson now. We just turn out good people generation after generation after generation. And it is because hard work is not new to us. And so when we talk about the government and what the government is, I felt that it was important for me to come to these islands and familiarize the residents of the Department of Social Services. Simple things, kids with glasses. A lot of these communities don't know that social services can assist. People needing wheelchairs, they don't know that social services can assist. Walkers, they don't know social services can assist. Surgeries on your eyes, surgeries on your knees, surgeries on your hip. These are services that people in Nassau get all the time. But the islands of the southern Bahamas do not, one, have access to that information, and therefore they don't have access to those services.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages.
Have you heard about the Promise Unit? The Department of Social Services provides food assistance, housing assistance, uniform assistance, burial assistance, and financial assistance. Promise makes it easy. You can log on via cell phone, your computer, or your tablet. Sign up today at promise.gov.bs. Once you've registered and created a profile, you can call the Promise Customer Contact Center and speak with someone about any inquiries at 1-242-4-PROMISE. That's 242-477-6647.
The acting director of the Department of Social Services is on a shared mission to facilitate help, hope, and opportunity for Bahamians who are in need.
Certainly, when a person is struggling and is in difficulty, they can expect us to assist them as best we can. That is our mandate.
Temporary housing is designed to offer immediate relief during difficult times, but it's crucial that individuals move on as soon as they're able.
There's always a long line of persons who need temporary placement, so we cannot really keep somebody in a temporary shelter indefinitely.
The disruption of the traditional Bahamian family has significantly strained the energy and resources of social services.
If a sister failed to take care of her children, her siblings would take care of their nieces and nephews, etc., or the grandparents would do so. People have moved away from that.
This has been the Heartbeat Brief, an inside look at the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting.
Well, congratulations, Family Island Coordinating Council. What does this appointment mean to you? And this evening, just finished, so just over 2 hours of talking about what the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting can do to serve you better. What did this mean to you tonight?
It was very informative. I was able to receive a lot of information regarding what the Ministry of Social Services offer and that we can utilize in Acklins, on Acklins here. It was very, 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 very informative tonight. I truly enjoyed all of the presenters, and I think as Acklins Islanders, we are now more aware of the services that you offer at the ministry.
Well, it's been about 2.5 hours. Very successful town hall meeting by all accounts. They're still here, even though they have to go in their separate ways, enjoying the treats from the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. I can tell you that this was our moderator, but she is in charge of. Just introduce yourself.
My name is Desiree Clark. I work in the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, and the unit that I manage is the Secretariat of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
I felt so very proud today the way you represented yourself. You know, there's something, if I may go off note just for a moment, because it's very important in what we're doing, and that you, in your own humorous way, celebrated our good men. And you were able to zone in of how many good men Acklins has produced. And even talking business to say your husband is an Acklins man. So clearly, you were talking about from experience. Tell me, what was your summation you had from your department, Mr. Roberts, who's your deputy, make just a proud statement for your department, for the country. In summary, how would you define this evening?
Well, this evening is a testament to the Ministry of Social Services care, commitment, dedication love and concern for the people in the Bahamas who need their assistance, because there's an old saying, today for me, tomorrow for you, and you can be on good times and having a very productive life, and circumstances can change and you would need the assistance of the government, and that's what the Ministry of Social Services is here to do. I am very proud of my team. I refer to them as best team ever, but I have that ability to have an effective team because I have effective and efficient leadership, and our permanent secretary, Mrs. Raming Turquest, and Minister LaRoda. So we have an amazing team, and we work very hard to ensure that the people of the Bahamas get what they deserve in terms of social assistance.
You're talking about something which is a principle, because you can't ever go beyond your leaders. And I hear that consistent theme that to submit to the leaders of the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting. We are submitting to vision. We are submitting to leaders who believe in acting on what they say. When we came at the beginning, our permanent secretary, Ms. Fedra Raming, those of you who may just be introduced to her, we started the program and she made a point that the last Family Island Town Hall meeting that she went to, there she finds that there's diversity in what the dominating needs are in a community. Was anything different today?
Well, yes. Acklins was different from my perspective. I think it actually was. Number one, the attendance was overwhelming as we presented. I looked out the windows and I actually saw people standing up. So we did not have sufficient space to contain the persons inside. Afterwards, when we presented, I thought things would have started a bit slow, but they came out the gate. They had many questions. The presentation focused for a bit on violence, domestic violence, abuse, and some questions started to come out around that. What is financial abuse and different forms of abuse? Also, we had the installation by gender of their Family Island Council members, they call them, who are going to support them in the community to ensure that matters of violence are brought to the fore, are addressed, and other concerns in general of the community are brought to the attention of the ministry, and that networking happens not only among themselves, but across the islands in the archipelago.
There are three themes that I heard. You mentioned a couple of them, and they talked about the efficiency of service. We heard about what I would describe as entitlement handout versus the culture of earning. Wasn't that encouraging to hear somebody say, we want some jobs, we want to work, we don't want to have the handout. How is the Ministry of Social Services Information going to look at its systems to become more efficient?
Well, one thing that came out was the lag time in the delivery of services in terms of emergency assistance, and there is a policy that is currently in place that is really affecting not only Acklins but other Family Island offices, and they require the approval to come from New Providence, very much Nassau-centric. That is something that we are going to put up for review and to seek to adjust, so that if it is an emergency, I can't have them going all the way to New Providence to say, please approve, and it takes 3 days to send that approval back. That person from that time is without food. And so we're going to look internally at how not only that policy but others can be adjusted to be more accommodating to the client. We also heard of persons saying, listen, the amount you're giving us is insufficient. The point was made that our assistance is intended for the poorest of the poor, first of all. There is no entitlement, there is an assessment process, and once you have been deemed to be qualified to receive it, the benefits have a targeted amount. Unfortunately, it's not intended to provide the care for the entire month, but it is supposed to provide support, because there are others out there who are also seeking assistance, and the resources do not permit us to just provide them indefinitely or for a month. What we are looking at, however, is to revisit the amounts of the assistance. It was spoken about rental assistance, and they also spoke about food assistance. And so we're going to have to look at our assistance programs throughout social services. When we discussed previously with the Director of Social Services and her team about the assistance that we offer, she said that they had not been increased. And I believe it could have been at least more than 10 years. And that's just being generous there, at the minimum, 10 years. We know that in 10 years that, save for food, I would say, it was increased about a year or two ago. We know that the others with cost of living and other matters, it can actually render them really like it's not receiving any assistance. And I believe that's what came out here today. Then you have the flip side of it, where someone said, look, you came to the island, we want y'all to know we are not a social island. We're not here just to take. Bring something here to anchor our community, some economic development that can help us take care of ourselves. We are people that are resilient, known to be hard workers, and we don't want to be coming begging for no coupon. We want to work. And so they have asked us to partner with other entities to ensure that that economic development actually comes into this southern island of Acklins. And I'm sure we're probably going to hear it as well in Crooked Island.
As a matter of fact, tomorrow we go into Crooked Island, so we're going to have day 2. I want you to close off this segment, but I have to ask Ms. Clark, what do we expect tomorrow? Your final thoughts on tonight as we prepare for tomorrow.
Well, we expect basically to provide information. It's about information sharing to the residents of Crooked Island and the residents of Long Key, because we will be visiting them for a general meeting. And we want the residents of these southern islands to know that they are valued and they are loved and they are in the grand scheme of the government's planning. And that's why it's very important for them to register with the commission, so that the government, when the government plans for whether it's a special needs unit for special needs children, or even planning to say how many residents may need assistance, the data is there to show that and to support that. And I would also like to say that the Secretariat supports the National Commission for Persons of Disabilities, which is headed by the chairperson, Nalini Bethel, and 15 commissioners.
Wonderful. You know, it sounds like tonight the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting has as its motto, from dependency, self-sufficiency to economic empowerment. Isn't that what we heard in terms of the spirit?
Yes, we certainly did hear that coming out, Debbie. We heard that from the persons, as I said before, who said, listen, yes, we need help, but don't leave us there as a social island. Don't keep giving it to us. Allow us to work for our living and be able to make an honest living. Just bring some things in to help us in that regard. And so we're going to certainly report where applicable to the relevant entities to share some of the views expressed. One of the things that Minister and the team has been working on is to ensure that we as a ministry no longer work in silos. We are about partnerships. So if there are entities that serve us and are able to dovetail with us to ensure that we can provide greater strength to communities and more support in a creative way, we welcome that.
Well, I feel like we're going to be welcomed our next visit tomorrow, which is Crooked Island. We want to invite you to be a part of day 2 of this fantastic tour from the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting. And as we tell you to stand by for tomorrow, just remember the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting. We know that this is a nation that will go from dependency, self-sufficiency, and economic empowerment. And we have the vision with our leaders, the diligence of our staff to demonstrate that we are the heartbeat of the nation.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
Strong family bonds provide a crucial support system, often filling the gaps that might otherwise lead to reliance on social assistance.
If we get the family structure support system right, you won't see adult children willingly putting their parents in senior citizens' homes. You won't see anyone putting children up for adoption. We should be the safety net for when the family begins to have some challenges.
Addressing the root causes of dependency is essential, as our goal is to shift the focus from merely providing aid to fostering self-reliance.
We must be prepared to move persons from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment. And I'm asking the public to join us on this journey.
This has been the Heartbeat Brief, an inside look at the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting.
The morning after the Acklins Town Hall meeting was yet another powerful cultural experience. The cuisine and hospitality was outstanding. Listen, I wish we could take this back tomorrow to Nassau, okay? This is so fresh. This is the most delicious stew fish I've had in a long, long time. You know what I noticed? The fish, Nassau. Go to a family island to get in touch with the culture of the Bahamas, the hospitality, the love, that gentle, quiet spirit, and food, the real Bahamian way. Listen, this is day 2 of our tour with the Minister of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting. We're about now to go into Acklins. We're in Acklins, but we're going to Crooked Island. See that stew fish I just had? Oh Lord, that was so good. But we're going into. Listen, this is Mr. John Nixon, and I'm saying, guess what? Listen, we have the best team in the world in the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting. The enthusiasm, the diligence, the love that we had. See, workplace don't have to be stale and cantankerous. No. See, this is a great example right here. So I was just saying before they boldly stepped into our shot, I like that. Yes. So this is, but let me tell you, but just before we go, tell me, what do you think about this resort?
Listen here, the Southern Bahamas is the most beautiful place in the world. Arvidales, I've been here many times, and this lady here, she is a gem. I love her to death.
I'm Miss Nabi, National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. Very therapeutic, hitting all the cylinders. You can't get no better than this. I'm telling you, fresh breeze, wonderful food, wonderful people, beautiful rooms. You can't get no better than this.
Listen, and you know what it is? What this trip represents is what the Bahamas should be. Inclusive.
Family.
And you know what family means? Family comes from the word famulus, which means to serve. We are serving one another on this trip. Well, we're on our way to the ferry.
All right.
Thank you for everything you have done.
And thank you all for coming to Ivels. It's a privilege having you. Oh, look here. Look at the minister.
Oh, Lord, did we time it?
Listen, it's a privilege.
It's a pleasure. In our culture, when we come here,
yes,
you always have to stop by to say you're leaving.
That's it.
So if you go into a settlement, whenever I left to come to Nassau, I had to go to every house in the settlement to tell them that we're leaving.
Wow, that's so special.
Each person give you a box and a special blessing.
Minister, I'm just saying that we are on our way to your hometown, Crooked Island.
Absolutely.
Oh, what are we going to expect? Because I don't know how you can top this now.
Well, this is, well, all I say is this. We don't compare. Just we enjoy what we had here. I let you all determine what we see when we get there.
But I'm going to put something on the agenda with the greatest honor and respect. I want to see where you were born.
Amen.
Where
I went
you
there at 6
grew up,
months.
you had 6 months. Just like you're born. You just, you're almost born here.
Yeah.
But where you grew up, where you were raised.
Absolutely. We'll have to make it through the bushes, but it's a journey, and you will see from whence I came to where I am. You'll have a greater appreciation for island living and what people who grew up in that area had to go through. What we take for granted now, you'll see back then is it's a completely different story.
Well, I can't wait, and I'm sure you can't wait. We're getting ready to go on to the ferry, and we're going to take a ride.
Enjoy. I want to let you know, Crooked Island is a beautiful place. And in fact, my great-grandfather is from Eleuthera. And he left Eleuthera to take care of the lighthouse. Gibson. I'm actually a Gibson.
Oh, you're a Gibson?
Oh, yeah, Timothy Gibson, and that's my first cousin. They leave from Eleuthera to come to Crooked Island to take care of the
Bird Rock Lighthouse.
That was my great-grandfather. And trust me, all the Gibsons on Crooked Island is my relative. Because we came from Eleuthera.
We have some relations.
We are the only Gibson
I'm a McKinney descendant, so you know the Scavalas, Gibsons, and McKinneys, they go together.
All right. So y'all going to enjoy Crooked Island.
Thank you, Ms. Ferguson. You have a great place, great hospitality,
and
thank you for coming back to these. It's people like you that keep these islands going.
Amen.
I'm Debbie Bartlett, and we're getting ready to go on that ferry. But what I love about this, we are learning about our history, our lineage, where we come from, Eleuthera, Crooked Island, coming back from Nassau. It makes us rich when we appreciate our genealogy, when we know our history, and we can know the history of the minister. He started in the pit, and he worked his way to the palace. See you on board. After leaving Ivels and before we continued on to Crooked Island, we stopped to present a wheelchair to 98-year-old Ethel Williams. The week before, the Governor General, Her Excellency Cynthia Pratt, asked this former farmer for one wish. She wished for a wheelchair. How does that make you feel?
Feel good.
Miss Veronica Lightman was another recipient of a wheelchair. It was presented by the local social worker on the island on behalf of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. We're on our way to Crooked Island. This breathtaking, multi-hued waterway between Acklins and Crooked Island was our pathway to transport the delegation on board, which included a new addition in the person of the Minister of State and Member of Parliament of Michael, the Honourable Basil McIntosh. In part 2 of this program, Taking Social Services to the People, we will reflect on the past and hear the desires and plans for the future. Social services is in the Family Islands, making the heartbeat stronger with hope and opportunities.
This has been a production of the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, the heartbeat of the nation, where we move our clients from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment.